Just watched a brand new RFK ad. Man, a little emotional after watching it, where he pulls from the devastation of his early childhood between his uncle and his father being assassinated by the government. Let's not mince words here. The CIA. Sirhan was in a stupor. He had no idea where he was. He was led into that. I'm sure a lot of you have done your research on JFK and RFK's assassinations. We know exactly what it was. Those two brothers were doing essentially what Trump is doing now, which is to the dark, shadowy, bureaucratic, and law enforcement agencies, the Department of Justice, the FBI, the CIA, the DOD, just the military-industrial complex. Let's just be honest. You want to just put it all in one category. We know what it is. They make a lot of money off of wars, the continuation of wars, the beginning of wars. Remember, when you're tasked with, when your job or your employment is, you're tasked to do a certain thing and do it well, efficiently, and be productive. Well, if you work for the military-industrial complex, or you're a lobbyist for the military-industrial complex, and you're going to Washington for a field trip, where you're not actually field tripping it, you're actually probably living in a mansion right outside the fucking Capitol building. But the reason these lobbyists go to Washington, D.C., and the reason there's such a lucrative business around war, is because all they have to do is convince you, not even necessarily convince you nowadays. Remember, the Vietnam War and moving forward, there's been no congressional oversight. There's been no stamp of approval, which is the way it's designed. You cannot commit a country the size of America into a war, a foreign war, without the okaying and the agreement of the people, which would have to be done through Congress. Well, they've completely avoided doing that for many years, and they're getting away with it. It's one of those things they just get away with, like how they go after Trump legally. A lot of Democrats are like, they know it's screwed up, they know it's corrupt, but they're like, yeah, but I don't like him, so go after him. Do what you got to do. Ruin his life for doing what we want him to do, which is to keep America great. So that being said, RFK his team did a great job at piecing together and helping us understand where his mind was. Why, when he walked up on stage with Trump and accepted to be part of the Trump administration, a lot of people were, they flipped out they didn't want it. It was unstomachable. I have one particular friend who was, I wouldn't say adamant that he was voting for RFK Jr., but he saw promise in RFK Jr. And as soon as he found out that he was backing Trump, there was a day, I don't know if it went beyond a day, but there was a day where our communication was cut short with, yeah, well, whatever, he's a sellout, RFK's a sellout if he's backing Trump. I can't be with anybody that's backing Trump. Okay, well, he since seems to have changed a little bit. I'm hoping and praying, I really do. It's not because I want an argument with him. This is an argument I'm wanting to have. I want this country to do better. And each particular individual person I interact with in life, I try to do my best at being impartial in terms of my listening ability. I'm not going to be impartial in terms of when I respond, but I'm also going to do it savvy, and I'm also going to be polite, mannered. So the main goal, the main thrust of that whole idea is to be attentive and listen to what the other person's saying, and then try to integrate it into a conversation where you can learn to agree, like a fluid agreement. It's hard. Some people are a little bit more intelligent than others, so they're easier to communicate with. And in some cases, intelligent people are harder to communicate with. They're stubbornly stuck in their ways, and to admit that they have been wrong to somebody like myself who may not be as smart as they are, to admit that I may be right while they may be wrong, it's a big hurdle to jump, and I get it, and I don't expect it to happen in a 30-second, sample of time. I just hope and pray that over time it changes in time for November. That's the deadline. So RFK, my point is, beautiful ad, campaign ad. I can foresee him using this as a launch pad to future endeavors for him politically. He's endearing himself to me as a Trump supporter. I'm learning to trust him a little bit more. There's obviously still certain subjects that I disagree with him on, but the health, I'm completely down with that. The shutting of the military-industrial complex, completely down with that. Releasing the JFK and RFK files, completely down with that. So there's enough to agree with that we have enough work we can do together to avoid all the things we disagree with. That's how we got to keep moving. On the other side of the aisle, Kamala Harris is falling on her face. The Philadelphia Eagles, one of the people that work for their team, that work for their ad campaigns, found a way to bump up Kamala Harris, saying that the Eagles support Kamala Harris. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles, in turn, said, we never did that. That was fake. But there was somebody that worked for the Philadelphia Eagles. In Pennsylvania's, that's the linchpin. If we lose Pennsylvania, if Kamala loses Pennsylvania, whoever loses Pennsylvania is not going to be the president. That's just the way it's going to be. And if you do the math and you look at the way the whole electoral map is laid out, Pennsylvania is the most important state. RFK is doing wonders for our side because he's normalizing, he's bringing people who thought the boogeyman Trump, he's so scary. It's allowing a lot of people to kind of walk into the room and go, so it's not that bad? It's not like killing Democrats? No, we're not. We don't want to kill anybody. We don't want to take anybody's voting rights away. We just don't want people from another country to vote for our president. That's always a good thing, right? Just keep people that don't live here or who jumped over a fucking fence. I don't want somebody that breaks into my house telling me what I'm going to make for dinner tonight. That's not how it works. You got to follow rules in order to maintain sanity. There has to be rules. RFK understands that. That's why he sees what the Democrats have done, and he is completely done with it. He is on our side now, and I hope you are too.